Hey, this is Carlos Cavallo. If there's one area that both men and women are concerned with in a relationship, it's the bedroom. Yep, we're talking about sex today. What men consider great sex. I'm going to give you 5 secrets here. After all, if your sex life isn't happening for you, then you know the relationship probably isn't working too, right? So it's the lifeblood of your passion, and I'm going to show you those 5 secrets about what men consider great sex. Hey, this is Carlos from datingfire.com and datingadviceguru.com. Welcome back to the dating and relationship secrets you need to know. Yes, if there's one topic that women want to know more about, and of course the guys too, it's what men consider great sex. Because even if men and women often focus on different parts of the sex, women know that it's a huge priority for guys. But did you know why? Well, let me tell you. Sex is a man's #1 concern in a relationship because he knows that this is his primary way of connecting with you. Even if you don't feel like it's your #1 connection, he does. So you have to know what's going on, and you have to know that he's not getting tempted by some other woman out there, right? Of course, what we're talking about here is in the context of a committed monogamous relationship. We're not talking about, bedroom buddies or any of that stuff. A lot of people worry how they compare to other people's sex lives. You want to know if you're normal compared to other people. Even most of the sex, keep in mind that most of the sex surveys out there and reports that you read about are based on studies that are self-reported, and they're usually college students. I mean, like, come on. Yeah, that means that people can and will lie and exaggerate quite a bit, as we know they often do. And when it comes to women, you want to know if you're underperforming. You want to know if you're enough for your partner, or you're maybe afraid that your relationship is in jeopardy. And I have to tell you that your fear is not far off the mark. If your sexual relationship isn't healthy, a man will look elsewhere, and so will a woman. So let's dig right in right now with the #1 factor. So the first most important factor in what men consider great sex is how much you're having. Yes, frequency, repetition. For a guy, the frequency of sex tells him what the heartbeat of the patient is, if you will. If the frequency is low, if you don't have sex very often, then your relationship is flatlining. Now, as a relationship progresses over the years, frequency just naturally decreases a little bit. If you've been with your partner for a few years, this may be the case with you, and it's totally natural. And this is why it's so important to build a relationship up correctly from the very start. This way, you establish your commitment to each other and possibly even get married so that the union doesn't fall apart. It's important for a woman to know, just to know exactly how to reach a man in his heart and in the bedroom so that he makes that commitment to her as soon as possible. In fact, if you don't get a commitment soon enough, sex may be the only kind of relationship you have, which is rarely enough to keep a relationship together. Circumstances can also affect the frequency of your sex. It's hard to have it every night when you've got kids, work, obligations, family. Is this sounding depressing? I hope not. You get the idea, right? The truth is that sexual frequency and sexual satisfaction are inversely related to divorce rates. Now, what I mean by that is, as one goes down, the other one goes up. When your frequency goes down, the divorce rate goes up. When the frequency goes up, the divorce rate goes down. It just makes common sense, right? There is probably all you need to know. That's all you probably need to know to make sure that you pay attention to how frequently you guys are getting it on. So, how frequently is enough? In most studies, a mature relationship is at least going to need once per week. Okay, let's call that the bare minimum for a relationship that's been going for a few years. However, I would recommend twice that to be on the safe side, at least twice a week. The fact is, you have to communicate and connect with your partner to find out for sure how much is too little. Don't guess. Have a conversation and really begin to find out what your partner needs and what you need, and where you can meet in the middle a little bit there. You might be surprised. If the quality is good, you might need lower frequency, but there's also another reality to frequency. Men have a real biological need to have sex fairly frequently the younger they are. I'm not going to go into too much graphic detail here, but suffice to say that Mother Nature knows that a man's sperm is no longer viable after a couple of days. So he's got to get rid of that stuff, one way or the other. So if you can help him with that, you can be aware of his frequency as well. #2 factor is establish virility. The second factor is what I call the ego factor. For a guy to feel that the sex is good, he wants to know that he is the man. He wants to know that he's the skilled performer in the bedroom. Yeah, the porn star. A man has a list of things that are they're going to go through his head when it comes to sexual performance. He wants to believe that he can First of all, he can always give you a mind-blowing orgasm because he's so hot. Number 2, you're enthusiastic because he's so hot. Number 3, he is physically virile and a masterful artist in the sack. Well, okay, you get it. He wants to know that he is all you want. You get the point here. He wants you to desire him in bed the same way that you want him to desire you every day in real life, right? Regular everyday life. And after all, that's not a bad trade-off if you think about it. Hey, before we go on, would you like to know if this guy is the one? Well, I've got a great new quiz you can take to find out. After all, if he's not the one, stop wasting your time. Go take the quiz right now. Go over to datingfire.com/is-he-the-one. datingfire.com/is-he-the-one. Or just click the link in the description below. Keep in mind that men are brought up on a pretty pathetic diet of sexually arousing materials. I mean, we've seen X-rated movies, we've looked at naked girls in magazines. Of course, there's the sexualization of women in our culture and our movies. I'm not here to judge or criticize that part at the moment, but I do want you to realize how men are cultured around sexuality. Our beliefs are formed by a lot of distorted ideas. Men are not taught about the true connecting love within a sexual relationship. And yet, he wants to know that he's pleasing you as well. So let's not distort this and distort things by saying this is all about you or it's all your responsibility, because it isn't. As a matter of fact, a man takes a lot of responsibility for how things turn out when you guys do the horizontal bop. Make sure you are communicating to him that you are happy with him in bed. This may be the most important thing I tell you today, okay? A man's primary purpose in a relationship is to please you. Sometimes it may not seem like that because he takes the relationship for granted, but if he knows that you're unhappy, he will do something about it. But only if he feels he can do something about it. So let him know when he's pleasing you and how to please you. Never be too scared to talk to him and let him know. Number 3 factor is friction. Now, I'm not talking about physical friction here where your bodies are rubbing against each other. That one is pretty obvious when you go to bed with each other. What I'm talking about is that a man considers sex great sex when it doesn't feel like he has to pay for it. I don't mean with money when I say pay. A man just doesn't want to have to beg you or cajole you or push you or whine just to get his desires met. A lot of men are also brought up with this idea that he has to play a game to have the kind of connection he wants physically. He has to lie, he has to do whatever he can to get what he wants. How willing are you to just run off and make wild monkey love? Well, that factor is a really big factor for him. The more willing you are to engage in that, the more happier he will be when it comes to your physical relationship. Men feel like they're always begging just to get their physical needs met. A man feels like this because, well, he feels like he's the beggar because women typically control the gates of the bedroom like this. If you have a headache, he isn't getting any. And that can feel really manipulative and disappointing to a guy who needs that physical release. So the more enthusiasm you put into your physical desire for him, the more happy he's going to be. Now, this also tells him he is desirable, right? But if he doesn't feel like he has to go through a series of checkpoints and hoops to jump through to get his needs met, he's going to be a lot more satisfied with you. This also means he'd love to have you initiate from time to time. You've probably heard guys ask for this, right? Of course, you want him to initiate because that makes you feel desired and desirable. And when you're in this standoff where you want him to desire you, he wants you to desire him, in that standoff, a lot of couples run into trouble. Neither one takes action after a while because each one is waiting to get their needs met. Again, this is another reason for you to be communicating. Keep talking. Talk about your sex life, even if it embarrasses you, especially if it embarrasses you. Would you rather be embarrassed or would you prefer to keep your relationship healthy and committed? Again, the choice is up to you. Don't make sex a special occasion, and definitely don't ever make it feel like you're doing it out of an obligation, okay? Hey, if you like these tips, go ahead, hit subscribe and turn on those notifications. You can get these videos every single week and you'll know exactly when they're released. Get these topics hot off the press. Number 4 factor is skillful intensity. Of course, when it comes right down to it, we want a woman who is comfortable in the bedroom, and she isn't holding back because she's got issues. Of course, if you have some sexual trauma in your past or some things that are getting in the way of your being able to enjoy this in the bedroom, you should be seeking to take care of that immediately, like right now. These days, you can find a therapist or a counselor or some kind of sexual therapist that can help you with almost any problem. I do this for my clients science, and I know for a fact how it can improve their love and their connection with their partner. Now, the skillful part of this really means that you know your way around his body. You know how to both turn him on as well as keep him going. And you can do this in a heartfelt way. A man wants a vixen in the bedroom, but he also wants to know that you're still you. While we really do enjoy a woman who can put on a good show, good performance, right, and be like those girls in the naughty videos, we still need to have connection to you as our girlfriend or our wife. So remember that a man finds love through sex. This is important. This is not a woman's experience typically. A woman often has sex after she has found love for the man. So it's the other way around for guys, and this creates a lot of tension in early romances. You have to be a little brave to explore in the bedroom, which requires you to feel very grounded in yourself. Again, this can be a difficult thing for a woman who doesn't have good experiences in her past to draw from. The number 5 factor is excitement. Excitement is one of those things that can be hard to pinpoint, but you know it when it's not there, right? I'll give you some examples so you know how to make things exciting with him. First and foremost is foreplay. Yep, you want this one too. This is probably the biggest and most important for both of you. As much as he wants to get to the main event, you guys have to make sure to build it up. This is like a slow symphony reaching its crescendo. Make sure you're not skipping on the playful touch, words of connection, teasing, all that fun stuff, even laughter. You're probably familiar with the physical forms of foreplay, but keep in mind that teasing, both physically and mentally, is an important part of getting a guy excited. The tease formula is super simple. Give him intense pleasure and then stop. Don't make it look like you're manipulating him this way, of course. Always follow through. But skillful artists, skillful teasing artists know that you don't give it up all at once. Think about all the best books you've ever read or the best movies you've ever seen. They always give and take, teasing you through ups and downs for as long as they can keep you going. Will they make it or won't they? Will he propose or won't he? Will they find out who did it or not? Will you get your man or not? Well, of course, the answer to that is yes, to that last question, but playing with the answer is what it's all about. Of course, another factor in excitement is your excitement. Make sure he knows that you're turned on. Don't ever lay there and just be a cold fish doing nothing. If there's one complaint that a man will share with you about a woman, it's this one, and his past relationships for sure. If you can handle it, go ahead and ask him about a past girlfriend who was like this. You're going to get an earful. Work with him to get you both where you want to go. It's all about cooperation. And another part of excitement is also variety. Another area that guys know they need is a little bit of novelty, something new from time to time. Do something different. Try a new position. Wear something a little different. Whisper something naughty that you've never said before. Use your teeth in a new way. Find a new place. Try wearing a new scent. Tiny injections of novelty like this really make a huge difference to a guy, mostly because there is this inborn need for guys to conquer new lands, so to speak. This doesn't mean that he's going to be unfaithful to you. Quite the opposite. A man wants to be faithful. So what you can do is to give him variety in the experience that simulates variety in his partners. Get it? That's all you got to do. Look, it used to be that women, for the most part, did understand what men wanted, and most women knew what men needed and wanted also. Sometimes they were taught this by their mothers, and they knew how to use this insider information to get a man to fall in love with her. Not through tricking him or deceiving him, but through simple psychological principles that were a win-win for both of them. That's what learning how men think will do for you. That's what it's going to do. You're not taking advantage of men. You're helping him get off his butt and do what he needs to do. Love and desire you. Don't trust that man to figure out how to fall in love with you on his own. Make it happen. And yet time and time again I see women who honestly believe that a man is going to figure all this stuff out on his own. He's going to accidentally fall in love with you somehow, like in a movie. He's going to accidentally make you happy. He's going to accidentally make a commitment to you. He's going to accidentally propose to you. Let me assure you that love is never an accident. Not really all the way through anyways. It's where preparedness meets opportunity and chemistry. If you don't know how to create that opportunity by knowing men, you're probably not going to get the man you want. Not only will he not miss you, but he will probably actively keep you at arm's distance. It's time to learn these secrets, to understand how men fall in love. Don't you want to learn now? Don't race off and try and find another video. This right here, this is going to make a difference for you. The women who know what they want know when to stop seeking and start winning with men. Here's your first step. Go to this link you see below me here. Go to datingfire.com/free book. Get my free ebook and get on my newsletter right now. You'll learn things that modern society seems to have lost. We've all become very distracted and very lost in the last few years, and you want to get on it now. So start here. Go to datingfire.com/free book. And hey, if you want more of this topic, hang around. I'm going to put a little recommended video right up here in the corner for you to watch, or at least it's what YouTube thinks you should watch. And if you're new here, or even if you're not, please make sure you do the big 3 before you leave. Most people aren't subscribers, and you have to get on the subscription. It helps me, and it helps me bring these tips to you. Well, first of all, like and subscribe. Get this stuff every week. Why wouldn't you? Number 2, turn on notifications. Click that bell icon or whatever it is that's showing for subscribing to my channel so you get notified when I release more incredible videos coming up. If you're already subscribed, please share this. Send the link to somebody. I give away all this great info, and women just have to see it. And number 3, comment below. Did you agree with these tips? Is there a video you want from me? What's your experience? Leave me a comment below if you want a part 2 or another video that you might like to see. I read those comments every week, and I try to answer as many as I can. Hey, this is Carlos Cavallo. As always, live and love with passion.